did my nails in the last 10
Audacity
seconds.
check.
Wait, you just painted your nails just now?
Literally when you started talking about Zoom.
That is so dangerous, but
I have issues.
yeah, I would be so scared to do that before a podcast, just sitting there the whole time like, please don't touch anything. So guys, I'm recording. Are you all good to go?
Yes,
Testing
I'm
1, 2,
recording.
3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hey
I'm good.
guys, blah blah blah. Okay, I should also be good.
Okay, amazing. So, Ilana and Jonah, welcome to the Progress Pure podcast.
Thank you for having us.
Hey, thanks for having us.
Of course, of course. I am genuinely so, and I know I already said this on like text and on my story or whatever, but I'm going to say it again. I'm so excited to have you two on here because I feel like you two are the specifically dating app pros, but probably like dating pros who I have listened to your podcast, which was called Dating Sucks. You guys are now changing the name, right? To
Yes, Dating Sucks is getting a rebrand. It is called Seeing Other People, and it's coming very soon.
2.0.
Nice. That's very exciting. And can you talk a little bit about how that came about? Because like I've listened to one of your podcasts talking about it, but I just think the story is super interesting. So it would be great for people to hear it.
Yes, we absolutely can. I can give my POV because it maybe starts the whole thing. So, I mean, I was living in LA for a long time, and my sister and I, who's actually my roommate here in New York, and she was just recording a podcast about an hour ago. So there's a podcast studio happening here today. But she and I had a podcast called Los Angeles Ships, which was about dating in LA and what that was like. And LA is a very interesting and unfortunate place to date. I'm looking for our coasters. We have custom coasters.
Yeah, you could have this exact podcast episode concept. You could do it again with people who live in LA, and it'll be totally different.
Yeah,
like the LA culture versus the New York culture versus the London culture, like different worlds.
That's so interesting.
Very different worlds, and whatever, we can't find the coaster, but we did that, and then simultaneously I was like, you know, Ilana and I, and this is I guess where her perspective comes in, but Ilana and I had I've been trying to get Ilana's attention, take her to drinks, and eventually we did go on a date, and then eventually we went on a couple dates, that didn't work out, but then it sounded as if Hinge was looking for an opportunity to get into the podcasting space, and I believe because you heard Los Angeles Ships, Ilana, you thought it might be interesting for us to explore podcast.
Yeah. Also, when we did go on a few dates, it was like half the time we were talking about dating and relationships, and we had really good, genuine, real conversations about them, which is hard to come by. And I just thought it would be really it would just be a great fit. And back up, because you were like, I was trying to get in touch with Ilana. No, Jonah slid into my DMs. He had someone email intro us. He stood outside my window throwing rocks and playing drops of Jupiter on a boombox.
The email intro had nothing to do with you. I didn't actually realize you were going to be on the emails. I didn't know. I was trying to make a video for Hinge. This is do I ever lie about what my ridiculous stunt is? I will gladly say that yes, I DM'd you. Yes, we matched on the app. Yes, I was trying to go on a date. But that specific email thing, I would actually think that was embarrassing. I was like, this is not a good look. I seem desperate if I'm being CC'd on a fucking email to this girl.
Well, we found this guy who wants to get involved, and Lana's like, I know this guy.
Yeah, yes, exactly, Molly.
He won't leave me alone.
Yeah.
Fine, I'll give him a pity date. Yeah. Fine, I'll give him a pity podcast.
And so did you, Ilana, ask Jonah to do the podcast? I assume at one point you got to a point where one of you ended it, or one of you was like, listen, I don't think we should carry this on anymore. Ilana's like, mate.
Ilana, yeah, for sure, Ilana.
And then when you did that, is that when you were like, but it's all good because I think we should do this cool thing together?
No, it took a few months actually. I kind of cut things off from a dating perspective just because I wasn't ready to actually like someone. I had just been getting over a breakup, and Jonah was the first person I went on a date with. So I was like, oh, I'm going to dip my toes back into the dating pool and try. And then I was like, wait, hold up, back up. I'm not ready to actually like someone. And I let him know that. And I was like, I genuinely want us to be friends and maybe see where things can go down the road. And he was super cool about it. And we ended up we kept texting over the next few months, mainly about The Bachelor. And then we like met up and got drinks one night, maybe like 2 months later, just like as friends. And then I randomly texted him one day being like, so thoughts on the podcast?
Yeah, I think it was a phone call actually. For some more credit, I think it was like a dramatic, fun phone call. Like, I asked him, I want to talk to you about, and I was like, "What's this about?" And then it was like, you were like, "What if we did a podcast?" I was like, "Oh, that's a really sick idea."
You're right. I was standing in a movie theater. I went to see not Inside Out 2, Frozen 2.
Okay.
And that's when the call happened. The call.
Wow, that's fun.
And so can I understand now, you guys, and like obviously you don't have to share this if you don't want to, but what is your, I just think it's helpful to people to know or like get kind of more of a perspective on you two. What is your relationship status now?
We're friends. Ilana and I are just friends.
If you two are just friends, are you guys individually seeing people? Are you coupled up? Are you exclusive with anybody?
No, I had a date last night. Ilana knows about that. Really cool.
No.
I actually met her. Oh, sorry. Go.
He had a date last night, yet maybe 4 days ago. He goes, I'm taking a break from dating. I'll revisit dating in spring 2021.
Yeah.
And then yesterday he goes, I have a date at 8.
Do you know what, Jonah? Good for you. I think everybody needs to have that rebound, like, because everybody hits like some kind of rock bottom and they're like, I can't do this. I'm not doing this.
It wasn't about a rock bottom. It wasn't about a rock bottom.
It was about being heartless. I am a heartless old person who can't find any feelings for anybody. But in this case, I had just matched with this person on a new app, not to plug another app called
Locks Club.
Locks Club, which is
for Jews with ridiculously high standards.
But here's my thing with that app. It's actually very interesting. It just shows you that people wanted a new app. The app is literally a ripoff of Hinge and less practical, less functional than Hinge.
Yeah.
And all people wanted was a new brand. They just wanted some new shiny armor on something. So
yeah.
But we matched on the app, and she had a really she's just not someone who I've really kind of been out with someone like that before. And she works for Saturday Night Live, which is a show that I love. And anyone that gets themselves into that room, intern, assistant, on camera, is a incredibly funny and talented and smart person. So I was like, I should go. There's a place I want to try. I want to go on a date. Let's see what happens.
Okay, interesting. And I'm super interested in what you just said about the how you're cold and heartless. Do you find it difficult? And not that this is like a Jonah therapy session that we're about to kick off.
Let's do it.
But do you find it difficult to create emotional connections with with people? And was that something that happened in your childhood that spurred this on? I'm joking.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. I mean, I think one of the things I love about your show and you is you are so in tune with understanding people's emotions and figuring out how to navigate your guests, and probably very much in your life in terms of what you're looking for. But to answer your question, how old are you, Molly? I actually don't know how old you are.
I'm 24, but I'll be 25 in 20 something days on the 31st.
Oh, that's
happy almost birthday.
Thank you. Thanks, guys.
And Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas and a Happy Hanukkah.
Happy New Year.
Happy Hanukkah, yeah. We're all Jews here.
Safe space.
Safe space. I'll give you this. The story is pretty much that I have there's maybe 3 things, right? There's this girl, Betsy Brown, that I was in love with when I was in high school. I loved her. She was my best friend. She saw me as a friend. Finally, we hooked up one day, and it was like, ugh. And I was like, wait, I've loved her for years. And then we just hooked up, made out. And now I don't like her. What is that about? Mm-hmm. And I was the best friend. I was fucking the kid in all the Disney movies who was why doesn't she like him?
Yeah.
And Gordo, what's his name in Lizzie McGuire movie?
Gordo, yeah.
Then I had a girl.
You were Gordo.
Cut to later in college, I dated this girl, and her and I were on and off for 4 years, which is a long time. My first serious girlfriend. I liked her way too much.
Right.
Then I realized my self-value, my self-worth. I was working at BuzzFeed when BuzzFeed was cool. I was getting recognized in the street. My work was being validated. And I was like, wait, I love what I do. I love who I am. This girl, who, by the way, my friends and family didn't really love for me because she broke up with me twice and because all she cared about was herself.
Right.
They were like, okay, they didn't like her. And I was like, you just don't know her. And then eventually I woke up one day from the spell I was under and I was like, oh, they've been right. And this girl is not right for me. And we broke up. And so from those 2 experiences, I've been sort of numbed is the wrong word, but it's really hard for me. And then of course my parents are divorced.
Right.
So if you want to just go ahead and toss it to that, they're very good friends. They're very good friends. Like,
Yeah.
and but at the end of the day, my job as a human being, like what I do is I write movies and I fantasize realities that I wish existed. But in my own life reality, I don't necessarily believe the stuff that I'm spewing out. So like, it's probably darker than the answer you were looking for. But that's the truth I'm coming to terms with, which is like, I sit here and write happy rom-coms when in real life, I have no problem going on one date and then never seeing somebody again.
Do you believe in love?
Yes, I do. I do believe in love.
So there is like a glimmer of like hope for that within you. It's not all like, doom and gloom. You're just trying to find your way within it.
I believe in, yes, I 100% believe in it. And I think I'm definitely looking for it, but I think it's as we all know, it's not easy to find it. And so I'm not one to easily fall in love with somebody in a real way. Like I would having idealized so many different those two people, Betsy and my ex-girlfriend, and then now I'm like, oh, I'm not just gonna like there's two scales of love. We all, and Ilana I know famously has great tweets about this, but like there's me going on a first date and being like, oh my God, I'm in love with that person, which is fake, but like kind of real.
Yeah.
And then there's like the real version of love where it's like, oh God, like my heart races every time I'm talking to them and they're all I think about. And when I talk to them, the world around me goes dark, so the second one I haven't found in a hot second, but I imagine I will one day.
And Ilana, what is your relationship status right now?
I am quite single. Quite single. A little bit desperate.
I second that. I see that.
I just rolled my eyes for everyone listening. No, I mean, I definitely am someone who like I'm looking to find someone. Like I'm actively looking to find someone. I don't want to be single. I've been single for a long time. I've had some pretty bad dating and relationship experiences over the last few years that have just like made me even more want to find that person who like makes me want to be a better person and makes me want to like share my life with them and kind of like also like have them share their life with me and be on whatever journey they're on with them. Like I do want that like other half of me. And I mean, going back to just like how Jonah kind of brought it back to his first experiences, like my first relationship was in high school and it was one of those like dream high school relationships. Like we were together for like a year and a half. But it was like it was like out of a fairy tale. Like it was so perfect and he treated me so well and like I was his everything and he was my everything. And I almost feel like that experience kind of screwed me over for the future because now I have such high expectations for what it should be like when I'm with someone and for how someone should treat me. And like, I have in my desk right now, I'm at my parents' house. I have love letters from him that say like, I love you more than anyone's ever loved anyone on earth. And I like always will love you more than anyone could ever possibly love anyone.
What?
And we were like in high school and I would get a letter like this every single time we hung out.
And were you like expecting it? So now when you date someone, you're like, okay, but where's like my bouquet of roses?
It's like weird. Today, if a guy did that, you'd be like, what the hell?
Yeah.
Not if I loved him back.
A love letter every single time you see him.
It was really cute. Okay, we both were in, we took like photography and we would leave notes in the dark room for each other because like I had it first period and he had it last period.
Well,
so I would leave a note for him and then he at the end of the day would leave a note for me to get
No.
It was so cute. And
It's
that's the thing, like I'm kind of totally messed up now with my expectations of dating and what it should feel like and how someone should treat me because of this.
What happened to this mystery man? Because he sounds like you kind of met the one.
Yeah, I was a year older than him, so I was going to college when he was still in high school, and I actually wanted to stay together, and he was like, there's no way I'm like gonna be okay with you being in school, going to parties, doing like God knows what with God knows who, like there's just no way. And I mean, we stayed friends for a while after that, but like, I mean, he's been dating someone for like 7 years, so.
Oh, damn. Okay, fine. So that he's kind of off the market ATM.
Not expecting that. That's never been a thought of like, oh, are we going to end up back together? No.
Okay, fair.
Yeah. So
Molly, what's your relationship status?
Oh, guys. So I'm kind of like fresh, hot off the press right now.
Oh.
I don't even know what that necessarily
In
means.
what regard? In what? Wait.
Tell us more.
Which part's fresh? You're like in something newly, or you're out of something newly?
So I know that sounds really strange. So I am just recently very in something newly.
Congratulations.
Yay!
Thanks, guys. I made it. I got to the other side.
We're so proud.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. Thank
How
you.
did you guys meet?
So we met on Hinge.
Wow.
And it's,
Oh God.
I know.
Yeah.
Obviously where I spend.
Why do I get
most of my
nervous
life.
when I hear that? Okay, yeah.
I know. It's just like the foreboding story. Because you just know, like, I feel like we're dating nowadays, in comparison to when our parents were kids. When our parents were kids, it was just like, oh, you like this person? Great. Now you guys are together and that's just that and you're boyfriend and girlfriend. Whereas now it's like, oh God, like you meet someone and you're like, here we fucking go. Like, I'm going to do 12
Yeah.
now. Like, it's just going to be like, this the whole time. And so I met this guy on Hinge and I liked him when we first met. But then afterwards I was like, oh, I'm not 100% sure. Like, I thought maybe he was a bit of a fuckboy. Like, I kind of jumped to conclusions pretty quickly. So pretty quickly I was kind of like, no. Yeah, I think that was me being pretty judgmental in the beginning. But like Ilana, how you mentioned, you've had like rough dating experiences. I have also had rough dating experiences.
My heart goes out to you.
I
We're
know.
in this together.
Honestly, I feel like it's so bonding speaking to other people who have been on dating, gone through it. It sounds like terminal cancer, but like who have been on apps because you're like, you've been through the hardship.
Yeah.
Congrats to you for finding that on
keep us
Hinge,
posted.
No doubt. Yeah, keep us posted.
I'm
please.
invested.
We're
We're
excited
rooting
to
for
hear
you.
how that develops. Yeah.
I will. There was actually one funny thing that happened where Jonah, how you mentioned that you had decided at one point you're like, I'm not going to be on dating apps for like, X amount of time. So I had written about a month ago, I was like so sick of dating and I was like, I'm done, I'm over it. And so my best friend who I live with, we were in the living room and she wrote out she literally wrote end of 2020 game plan for Molly. And like on the first thing on the list is like delete all dating apps. And then number 2 is ask 3 guys out IRL, like in real life. And then like a bunch of other like really lame things, but like they were kind of funny. And then that guy who I'm seeing now came over like, I don't know, a week ago or 2 weeks ago, whatever, and like picked up the sheet and was like, what the fuck is this? And I was like, ha, that's just my lame sheet being like, no more dating apps, ask people out in real life. But it was like subnote can be set up by friends or something, like so lame. Like,
wow.
That's so funny.
So you never deleted the apps. You stayed on them. You didn't take your friend's advice.
No, so I did when we wrote the end of 2020 game plan, I took it very seriously. I erased my account, deleted the app and all of that stuff. Yeah.
And then you got back on it though, because then you met this guy.
No, so I had actually met him at the end of August.
Copy you. So we had met him, you guys had gone out, there was like a lull period and it rebooted. It was a reboot relay.
It was a reboot relay.
I have a question for you.
Those are really successful.
Yeah.
Are you exclusive? Are you in a relationship? What's going on?
Great
Look
question.
at Ilana and I hijack your show from you.
No, guys, this is what I wanted to happen all along. I all along wanted it to be about me. No, I'm kidding.
Welcome back to Dating Sucks.
Seeing other people.
Yeah, seeing other people. Sorry.
So, sorry. Dora, I'll just edit that bit out. So now we're actually officially boyfriend and girlfriend. However,
holy shit.
Yeah, I know. Went from 0 to 100 real quick. But we were exclusive and we did have like the exclusive chat. We were exclusive for about 2 days.
Okay.
Yeah, and then
wait. So
like a fiscal
tell us about the DTR. Like who brought up the DTR convo?
So
how long had you like been hoping it was gonna come up? Like tell us everything.
Okay, so we were just essentially seeing each other. Oh wait, no. Sorry. We were exclusive for a longer period of time. It wasn't just 2 days. We were seeing each other, and then about 3 weeks ago, we were pretty much like seeing each other, I assumed exclusively, because like we were talking every day and he had made it clear that he was like quite into me. And so then I was at his house and we were just kind of like talking about being exclusive and seeing other people, and he had kind of said, okay, no, I'm not seeing anyone. I was like, cool, I'm not seeing anyone either. Like, haha, look at the floor. Are we really having this conversation? And then a few days after that, we went for a walk, and he was like, so I just want to make sure you're not talking to anybody else. Like, what are we? Like, he said it, what are we? And I was like, okay, respect.
Yeah.
For sure, respect. How old is this guy? Let's get an age check here.
24.
What?
Right?
Maybe
Wow.
maybe
Snaps for maturity.
Maybe it's just different over there in the
No.
So, okay,
UK.
wait, question. Because
Yeah.
you said you were assuming that you were exclusive. And I know this is like such a hot debate and hot topic. So for you and your friends and just like people dating in your world, is it a normal thing? Is it a safe thing to assume that you're exclusive with someone?
I would say absolutely not. Like, I would always say across the board, and a lot of people wrote in talking about their own personal experiences where they have learned like massive lessons, not to assume from now on that communication is key. But I don't think it's fair either to assume with someone, even if you're seeing them seriously. I don't think it's fair on that person that you want to ask that they're exclusive to you.
Yeah.
That feels like a good life lesson, by the way. In life, there's never assume anything. Like,
Yeah.
why do people assume? Why we assume anything is people who have clearly gotten away with assuming until it fails on them. So it's like, but that's really great to hear, and that's nice that you guys had that chat and that conversation. So
Right.
exclusive over there sounds like it's the same over here, which is the act of being only hooking up with, or only like kissing and whatever we all want to call it.
Yeah.
Shagging. I've seen a bunch of different words on here. Shall we have a shag? Although I'm going to be highly insensitive in terms of, like, I love Harry Potter. I love Austin Powers. That's my knowledge of British slang.
Good. Good.
And I listened to Harry Potter on tape.
The spy who shagged me.
Shagged me. So that's the same thing over there. So exclusivity, it sounds like you guys are basically just saying, and by the way, I think there has been a spike in exclusivity conversations because of COVID. Like, I never understood the difference between exclusivity and dating. In fact, I think if I cut to 24-year-old Jonah, where, how old you are, almost soon to be 25.
Yeah.
When someone said what was exclusive, I would have assumed instantly exclusive means you're like dating somebody. But really all exclusive means, I think, is like it's almost like it's physically based, right?
Yeah, I would say it is. It's just kind of like sexually, you're mine.
Yes. Which.
Okay, but for me, I'm not okay with that.
Why?
I'm not okay with that. I want to know that you're not talking to other people. Or like emotionally connecting. Like, for me, it's definitely like more an emotional thing than a physical thing. Like,
So
I obviously like
exclusivity.
Yeah.
That's boyfriend, girlfriend. Well, I'm not saying one is better than the other. I'm just saying we're defining what it is. Exclusivity is physically what is happening. Emotional exclusivity is boyfriend, girlfriend. It's
difficult because if like Jonah, let's say there's this girl, Betty Brown or whatever her name was. By the way, Betsy
Brown.
Really
close though. Yeah, Betty.
It's the best name I've ever heard.
It's
Betsy
such a
Brown.
classic high school name. Yeah, everyone's like, oh, that's like a Netflix movie. I'm like, yeah, I'm working on it.
It's, So okay, you've got Betsy Brown. Even if it's wrong, we're going with it. But she is the love of your life. You really like her. You're dating her, and then you was dating her, and then you're like, okay, cool. I want to be exclusive with you. Let's say she agrees to being exclusive. What you assume then? It's just sexual exclusivity.
Yes, I would. The purpose of the conversation would be to know that we're like each other's only sexual partners, and then at the same time, I would not, because here's the debacle I was in. I was seeing somebody recently for a couple months, and I wasn't getting to the place emotionally where I felt like I wanted to take it to the next level, which was like, hey, we're boyfriend and girl, we're partners, right? We're partners in crime, which maybe is the best term. Like boyfriend, girlfriend feels a little bit 1995. Like, I think we're partners in crime because that implies a lot of different things. But
1995, before Molly was born.
Yeah, Molly's birth year.
Guys, how old are you? Why are we taking the piss out about when I'm born?
I don't know. We're just fucking with you. Also, Alana's like 24 too, so it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, I'm 26.
I'm 30. I just turned 30.
He's an old fart.
A 30-year-old man, no offense to you, Jonas, I feel like at the age of about a 23-year-old girl. So we're basically all on the same level.
I agree with that. That's why we're
Yeah.
communicating.
That's the takeaway here.
Yeah.
But so we were in a place where I didn't really know what to do next because I didn't want to be, I didn't want to take it to the next level. But at the same time, I understood that there should maybe be a conversation. So this is me monologuing in my head. I was like, oh, but it is COVID era. She deserves to know, and we deserve to have a conversation that we're the only people we're like sleeping with, essentially. So that conversation was had. So we were exclusive, and I was like, oh, now I understand the difference. We are sexually exclusive, but emotionally, I don't have to give myself I don't expect anything from her in terms of her sharing her life with me, and vice versa.
It's very interesting that if you didn't really feel that emotionally connected with her and you didn't necessarily want to escalate the relationship, that you felt like you had to bring it up and have that conversation. Did you not think that, like, if she cared that she would potentially, like, just because if I was you and I was seeing someone and I don't know if I would bring it up if I didn't want anything more. Like, I would think they should bring it up.
I think it was a mutual conversation about like, hey, are you sleeping with anybody else? Because we're about to have sex without a condom. And I think I want to know. And we both want to know. We're both hypochondriacs, Jewish New Yorkers who's like, so that's like probably the specific element of it. But then, the more like emotional element of it was definitely, we both were at a point where like we didn't need to define what we were doing and still figuring each other out. Do I want to hang out with this person more? What do I want to, are they going to meet the friends? What's that going to look like?
And so, Ilana, let's say now you're dating someone, you like them, you're really into them, and then you guys mutually bring up the exclusive chat and they go, yeah, we're exclusive. So that means to you physical exclusivity, physical, sexual, whatever, exclusivity, and emotional exclusivity, aka they can't be chatting with other people that they, have the hots for.
Yeah, I would expect that they're not. I would also, in my head, like, and I think a lot of people think like determining that you're exclusive is like also saying like, hey, we're probably going to like give this a real shot and see where it can go. So to me, that's also like, that's the step before deciding to be in a relationship. And I say decide because it has to be like a decision. It can't just like happen. You both have to decide like, yes, I want to be in a relationship with this person. But yeah, I think it's totally reasonable to make that assumption of like, not only are they not sleeping with anyone else, but like they're not going on dates. They're not still on dating apps. Like and I know this happens with my friends too, where it's like they'll become exclusive with someone and then myself or another friend will see that person on a dating app or like we'll get a like from them and we're like, wait a second, they're still on apps. Like this is a huge red flag.
Yeah.
And then it turns out that yes, it is a huge red flag. And then like they bring it up and then it's over,
Yeah, I do kind of agree with you, actually. Like, if I said to someone, okay, we're going to be exclusive, like when I said to, my boyfriend, sounds so crazy. I haven't said that in so long. I know. But anyway.
Must be nice. I envy you.
It is nice, but like, it's also really weird. Like, I have been single for like a year and a half or like a year and a bit now. But anyway, if, saying that to someone, agreeing that you're going to be exclusive, I would absolutely assume like that you're not chatting to other people, because I think if you're exclusive with someone, and now I have also made this mistake in the past, but like I think if you're exclusive with someone, it on a certain level, without you necessarily having to say it, gives the impression that this could go somewhere that's more than that. Do you think I'm wrong in thinking that?
I think the latter is correct. I think if you're having the exclusive conversation, then yes, it's safe to assume that there's potential for it to go further. But I don't think it's safe to assume that because you say you're exclusive that they're not talking to anybody. I mean, if you're
what would be the point?
Well, what do you mean? What do you mean? What would be the point? Exclusivity. What? Go. What? Say it. Maybe I'm not understanding.
The jacket's coming off.
Well, okay, if you are exclusive with someone, like if you are physically exclusive with someone, what is the point of even talking to someone else? Because then what, you get to a point where like, okay, you're on a date, like you're having a good time with this other person, even the person you're not physically exclusive with, and then what? You're like, actually, sorry, I can't go home with you because I'm physically exclusive with someone. Like what in the world?
No, but it makes you certainly wouldn't be like that. It would definitely make you question like what first of all, maybe you are talking to people that you haven't met, or they live out of this, they don't live near you, or again, pandemic times. There's a lot of like digital relationships that have been made that don't involve physical intimacy. So like maybe that's why the exclusivity thing is like has a new definition in 2020. But I'll speak from experience. Like, I was seeing this girl, we were exclusive, but like I never considered her. I guess it has less to do about other people and more to do with like the person. And this is, it's difficult to say because I got to be sensitive with my words here, but I just didn't, we were not like a boyfriend girlfriend. You know, I didn't feel obligated to have to check in every day or
Right.
tell her about my life or tell her about my day and of course I enjoyed that, a part of a friendship. We were friends, like how's work, what's going on, like send memes and all that stuff, but like there was no expectations that comes with a healthy relationship when you are intimately dating towards something maybe looking like love.
And do you say that? Do you think it's an important part of the conversation when you are not negotiating, Jesus, but like when you are talking to
Molly,
that?
Molly, you're a savage
of.
too, huh? Okay. Molly's like, I'm in negotiations with my new Hinge boyfriend as of right now.
I'm just waiting for him to
right
sign.
now. I am winning the negotiations.
But when you're signing that contract, are you like in the terms and conditions, do you have like, okay, whilst we may be exclusive now, but like do you say, FYI, I don't really see this becoming a relationship. I just want to be able to have sex with you without a condom, essentially.
No, wait, no, okay. This is, now I feel like I'm on The Bachelor.
Okay,
but
that,
words get caught.
here's the thing: there are people who that is their intention.
Yes,
that is their
truth. That's the truth. I do wanted to say, just to clear my name here, that was not it. It was not about having sex, and that's a two-way street. I think I want to know. I think we both have the right to know that we are only the people seeing each other sexually, because it's like she got her own life, I got my own life. The exclusivity thing solely had to do with the emotional expectations that come when you are sharing your life with somebody. And I did not, nor was I in a place to be able to do that in a way that I felt she deserved from somebody. Yet again, who am I to say what she deserves and doesn't deserve? Because as the more I watch The Bachelor, the more I realize that any word out of your mouth about someone else can be completely misunderstood. So like, my point is, if we're being completely blunt, I didn't have the emotional capacity to be into a relationship with somebody, but I really liked hanging out with her and I really like her as a person.
Right.
So to protect us in a COVID era and to have like better sex, we had that exclusivity conversation. But emotionally, we only hung out once a week. And like, that's not, I mean, I guess everyone's got their own style, but like, that's because that's all I could figure out how to give. And so is that making more?
Yes. No, it makes total sense. I was just joking with you. I didn't actually think that.
I know, but I did want to clear it up.
Yes, no, it's good. It's good. But it sounds like it's actually a really, really mature kind of conversation to have, and arguably more mature and I don't know why. I don't know. I'd be interested to know why you guys think this, but like, why do we have now these different levels of labels and dating, and whether you're like just getting with someone or you're exclusive with someone or you're quite serious with someone? Do you think maybe it's because we live in such a like fast-paced, I don't know, our parents probably lived in a fast-paced world, but like there's so many things that are going on and opportunities, and maybe we're like busier today than our parents were when they were younger, and so like trying to slot someone in and like justifying if you could only give them like a week of your time might be like just trying to like give, like, I just don't know why we have these labels. Do you know what I mean?
I see exactly what you're saying. Ilana, I saw your hand was raised.
My hand was raised because I really wanted to jump in, and I definitely, Molly, like 100% we're diving into this right after.
Dive, yeah.
Jonah, do you think that from her mindset, it was the same thing?
Well,
do you think she was? Do you think she was on the same page of like?
No, she wasn't. She wanted something more. She wanted more from me, and she wanted me to put in more effort is the wrong word, but she just wanted more from me. And I think she wanted like a relationship, like a more traditional relationship. And so the answer is no, but I was aware and she was aware. And ultimately we both knew what we wanted. And as I said, I believe, well, I feel weird saying the actual line that I said because that's like a special moment, but I said something that I think articulates it very sweetly and shortly. But I can't say it. So not to tease everybody.
Yeah, you have to catch it in Jonah's movie.
Yeah, you have to watch it in the movie. Yeah, it will make its way into a movie. But she did not feel the same way. So
yeah,
there we are.
That's my question.
I think Molly, your point about, I think it has to do with like the basically, at least, and Ilana can really speak to this. We have so many different ways of communicating now that you like Hinge, DM, Venmo stalking, me and them at Whole Foods, which I don't know
What's
if you guys have Whole.
What's Venmo stalking?
Do you have Venmo in the UK?
No, so I use PayPal.
Oh
Okay.
God. Okay. Fucking nerd. Okay.
But you can't see what everyone else is PayPaling each other, right?
Oh God, no, that would be like totally an invasion of privacy.
Right. Okay. So on
Right,
Venmo,
right.
we can see what everyone that we're like Facebook friends with is Venmoing other people who we're not even friends with for, and what they are being paid also. So you can totally, like, people catch people cheating via Venmo all the time. All the time. You can also catch people like sending like $50 for plan B, like everything. Everything is on Venmo. It is like the number one way to catch someone cheating.
And you can be private. You can set it to private, but it's not inherently easy to figure that out. No one, because you think it'd be private. It's standard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
It's like once Instagram got rid of the feature where you could see who people were following and what like pictures of girls in bikinis they were liking, like that was the number one way to originally find out if someone was cheating. And then it pivoted to Venmo.
That's so crazy and interesting. And Venmo is literally just like, you guys, don't you use it as like most of the time how you pay for anything, or is it literally just how you transfer money?
It's like if your friend pays for dinner, you'll Venmo them like $50 or whatever you're gonna owe them. So it's more like you can do rent. Like
nice
I Venmo
dinner.
my sister rent. Well, yeah, that whatever. The scale there is incorrect. But I just say that as a way that basically there's all these new inventions of digital communication and flirting that perhaps that is why we've as a society have like come up with new terms.
Yeah, but then it's so hard. Like, does liking another girl's Instagram count as, or Instagram pic count as flirting? And then Venmo stalking, don't you open up like a whole new world of, oh, you went for lunch with this? I just feel like there is so much potential to lead to people thinking that their person is like flirting with other people. It does just make dating more complicated.
There's a lot of room for misinterpretations and misunderstandings and for people to make assumptions. And that, I think, is one of the reasons why like communication is more important now than ever, because there are so many ways for us to take things the wrong way or to assume like, oh, like this person's commenting on their picture. Does it mean something or does it not? And like, you know what? It probably doesn't, but maybe it does.
Yeah.
Like the comment itself, of course, like doesn't mean something, but everything that's under the comment that we're not seeing, that we don't know, the conversations that are happening on the side, the dates that might be happening on the side, yeah, maybe it does mean something, but all we see is the comment, and then our minds like spiral out of control, and it's like, what's going on? And the only way to really find out is to communicate, and a lot of people don't do that because they either don't know how to or they're afraid to.
Arguably, regardless of labels, whether you're exclusive with your boyfriend or a girlfriend, those things will still happen if people just still want them to happen. So, okay, if that's what you guys define as being exclusive, then what is the biggest difference that justifies someone, or what relates to being a boyfriend or a girlfriend? Like, what does that mean if somebody is your boyfriend or your girlfriend or whatever kind of friend to you?
Alana,
$1 million question here.
Yeah, I know.
My house phone is ringing, so I'm muting myself.
I'll go first. I actually don't. I'm just. I think that my answer is like I can't give an answer because I don't necessarily have something eloquent or thought provoking to say beyond the fact that it's like a. That's why I was trying to say partner in crime. I feel like when you do find the person that you like, your boyfriend, girlfriend, you're just like are partners. In every aspect of life, plus the romantic element. So
I really think it's what you feel behind like the label. It's like, do you really truly like care for this person, or if they need something from you, if they are upset, if they're having a family emergency, are you going to drop everything to be there for them, not because you have to but because you want to? Or do you like so want them to spend time with like your family, your friends, doing the things that you do in your life, and vice versa? Like, do you want to invest all of yourself into their lives? I think there's a lot about the intentions behind the label and like what you really want to do and hope to get out of it.
Yeah, I agree. I think that what you just said specifically with like family, in my eyes, that I agree that being exclusive is kind of like, okay, potentially you're kind of mine physically, sexually, and you can also like garner a friendship out of that as well. But when you get to a point where you're like, hi, I kind of want you to meet my parents, and oh, it's Friday night, like obviously we're gonna be hanging out, but there is something which like, do you think that label of girlfriend and boyfriend, when you move from being exclusive, because like exclusive, that when you guys are hanging out, you're hanging out because you're like, oh, I really fancy them, I really want to see them, I really want to hang out with them. And I do feel that sometimes when people escalate to the next stage of boyfriend and girlfriend, you get to a point where you're like, it's Saturday night, we should hang out, it's Friday, we should hang out, and that it can sometimes like dull the relationship.
Yeah,
Molly,
I get
are you
that.
backtracking in your own relationship? You just
No, I'm
started?
just, I'm just trying to think out loud.
Yeah. No, I hear you.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. I think it's the difference between like feeling like you have to do something because you're supposed to, because you're in this relationship, versus feeling like you want to.
Mm-hmm.
And I think figuring out that separation for yourself is so important.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Jonah, what do you think?
No, I agree with you. But I guess I don't feel responsible having to take just because I haven't had that in a while. So it's like I don't really know what the up to date answer is.
But then there are a lot of people who just say that like labels aren't even necessary. Like, have you guys ever thought about that? Of potentially, if you like someone, then you like someone, and why do you even need to define it? Or do you think that there will always be a part of you that would want to define it?
I wonder if those people, I would love to talk to somebody who has never defined a label, but like, also, what is the truth to that? Like, people maybe don't consciously have a what are we conversation, but I guarantee at some point they'll introduce this person as their partner, their boyfriend, their girlfriend. Mm-hmm. They will do something that is inherently, they'll say something or do something that is inherently defining of what the situation is. So do those people actually exist where like they've never had that conversation? And if so, why not? What have you talked about? Like, it's like, I don't, do you, what, yeah, that's my take.
Well, say my last relationship, which was like almost 2 years ago now. Oh my God. I'm over it, clearly.
Obviously.
We never had the exclusive talk, but we met, he lived in LA, I lived in New York. We met when I was visiting a friend in LA. We immediately started like flying across the country to see each other, just because we wanted to, and we never had the exclusive talk. We were just like flying across the country to see each other. And then we were on FaceTime one day and he was like, question, are you my girlfriend? And I was like, do you want me to be? And he was like, yeah. And I'm like, okay, yeah. And like, that was it. But it was more so like, I think the actual, not signs, but like the way we were treating each other, everything that was there between us made it like very obvious that like I didn't have to ask, are you seeing anyone else? Because I knew that he wasn't. And he didn't have to ask if I was, because he knew that I wasn't, because of the way we communicated and the things we talked about and what we gave to each other of ourselves.
Yeah. You still define it, by the way. You still had a conversation about, do you want to be are you my girlfriend?
We did, right. But before that, I'm saying, okay. And we did have that conversation, but it was the most seamless thing because we both like kind of felt like there were no questions along the way. But I don't know. I do always wonder, like, people who are like, oh, like labels are stupid, I don't believe in labels. Like, I wonder what led them to have that, to like make that decision in their head and have that perspective. And if anyone's listening and you're like, yeah, that's me, like definitely like write in, DM any of us, like let us know, because I definitely like would love to understand that perspective. Because for me, I feel like because there are so many question marks and so many different things that people can be in now, I feel like for not just for the people involved, but for everyone else, for friends, for family, for anyone who might also be interested in one of you. I think it just helps like clarify things and make things pretty clear.
What about marriage? Because like I did a podcast with my brother about a month ago about he was like, I'm never getting married. What's the point? He was just like, you just sign a contract, you risk, losing a bunch of money or taking their money or just getting confusing. And he was saying he watched this film, I can't remember if it was Al Pacino or I can't remember who it was. was saying that like you should always be able to, Robert De Niro, you should always be able to leave something within 30 seconds or less, which is, and he's like, you can't do that if you get married. And he, from his perspective, he was just like, it's a label. Like if you love someone,
watching The Irishman. Why is his source is highly questionable for like life advice? It's a mob.
I know. Yeah, mob gangster.
Talking about killing people. He's not talking about marriage.
Oh my God, there's a giant bug. Sorry, hold on. It's a giant bug.
What kind of bug?
Yeah, what kind of bug is this?
Like 1,000 legs.
Ew, is it a spider?
Ilana? Is this how you normally react to bugs?
Yeah, it's being recorded now.
I only have sympathy if this is a spider.
Yeah, yeah.
No, it's not bad.
Can we see it?
Yeah, it's...
it's under, down. I don't know, it's under the chair. It like crawled under.
I don't see anything in the triple.
We have to find it.
Hey, Ilana's dad.
I'll get off.
Ilana's dad.
Hold on, can you hear me?
That's a good one.
I'll film.
Jonah, have you met Ilana's dad?
No, not in real life.
Is he doing this with his bare hands?
Do you guys want me to mute myself so you can keep going while this goes on? Because this might take a minute or two.
You believe this is going on?
Okay.
So, Jonah.
Hey.
By the way, you have the most ridiculously perfect hair.
Oh, shit. Thank you. Okay. Wow. What a nice thing to say.
Now that Ilana's gonna, no, I'm joking.
What it is. Now the show starts.
Yeah. So.
Hey, how are you? So, yeah, I'm in New York, but you're moving to New York, or maybe you're moving to New York. Maybe
Yes,
you fall
I
in love
am.
with your, what if, is your boyfriend going to come with you?
I don't know. Like, he works in London, and the plan is that he's staying here. But like I said on the first date, like I made it very clear, like I'm moving.
Wow.
Yeah.
Maybe that's why I mean, shit, you know, if I was in a situation where there's a time limit, I would actually be, it's fucked up to say, but I'd be like, oh, I'm down. Like, that's kind of like but that's fucked up. I don't know why I'm saying that.
I don't know if that, I don't know. No. Like, we are happy, you know, he's so lovely, and like, I do really, really like him, but I do see what you mean. Like, there is a part of me that's like, I knew I was always going, and like, so this wasn't going to carry on. So in a way, it's kind of like, well, this is going to be really nice and like sweet, you know, for that period of time.
Yeah.
But then also, there's the flip side of it, of being like, right, but like, what happens then if you like, you know, develop like further feelings, and then it makes the leave more painful?
Yeah, it's kind of like you're screwed and you're screwed. It's you know, someone's gonna get heartbroken, or someone's gonna get heartbroken, because someone's
Exactly.
someone's gonna fall in love.
Yeah.
Do you know where you're gonna live yet? I feel like you told me West Village, but did I make that up?
Well, I think in my like dreamland, when I was like, I'm gonna live anywhere that I want to live, I was gonna do West Village.
Emily in Paris, but you're Molly in New York.
Exactly. But now that I like looked up rent and stuff, I was like, I think Brooklyn seems like a really cool place.
Well, I'm an expert in moving to Brooklyn. I did this apartment tour with my sister all summer. We were looking for spots. I will pitch you hard on Greenpoint, which is where I live, but I also truly love it here. It's like, it's my favorite part of Brooklyn. I think Williamsburg is great, but it's a little on the nose. It's a little mainstream. It's a little pricey. And like Greenpoint is like this perfectly cool, up and coming, like, but amazing secret gem of like a spot. And I could see you. Yeah, I think you would have fun in Brooklyn.
Okay, you can see me there hanging out, being like, yo, grabbing my bagels in the morning.
I like how you like maybe try the New York accent, but
bagels,
yeah.
Bagels.
There's a bagel spot. There's coffee shop that I go to every day. It's like I'll send you pictures of like the Main Street Franklin, because it's exactly the quaint vibe that you're looking for.
Okay, cute.
I imagine in your little Molly fantasy world like that.
Yeah, like just skipping down the street.
Yeah,
Whistling.
Even though it's winter.
Yeah.
You've got like a sundress, and you're just like, oh, like there's like a.
Hello, everyone. I'm from England.
Hello.
Hello. Hello, Poppy.
You want some tea? Yeah, hello, Poppy. Is tea? Have us a pint or something down by the tavern.
It is actually comical how much Americans fucking love. No, I'm not just saying necessarily you guys, but like the English accent. I used to go to this summer camp in Vermont when I was like 8 or 9, and when I would go, all the kids would like, from my memories, I don't know if I'm just, you know, like dreaming this from like growing up, but like in my head they would all come around and be like, you're from England, and I'd be like, yeah, and they'd be like, do you know the Queen? And I'd be like, yes, obviously I know the Queen, God.
Oh my
And like,
God.
you know, just totally play up to it, and people just fucking love it.
That you were literally Annie Parker from The Parent Trap.
Yeah, it's Annie Parker. But Molly, didn't I legitimately, and maybe this is someone else who has an accent, didn't I ask you to voice memo me stuff like in an accent, or was this somebody else?
Definitely somebody else.
Okay, I remember.
Was it Pia? It was probably Pia.
It was Pia, and I asked her to do Harry Potter. Yeah, that's
Oh
right.
my God.
Okay, I'll make sure that because obviously I know that we've been doing this for an hour now, so I want to, and I haven't got to like what the questions that people have like sent in or asked us. So we'll start those so that I don't keep you guys for too long. Are you ready?
Perfect.
Okay, so some of these we've kind of spoken about, but I'm going to throw them out there anyway. You can just go, we said that one. Okay, so a girl called Emily, she wrote and she said, putting labels on things too early is a recipe for disaster to be avoided at all costs.
Too early is probably a recipe for disaster. I concur.
I agree saying like, what are we after like the third date? But I think it's like not a good thing, but I think it's okay to say like, what are you looking for? Just to get aligned on, like, it's important to know what someone's intentions are. And the only way to find that out is if you ask them. And I think I wish we could like normalize asking each other what we're looking for, because that would make dating a lot better. We can normalize
that. I did that last night on that date. When I was on the date with this woman, I was like, so tell me about your romantic life and like, what are you looking for right now? And we had that conversation. Why not? It's a fun conversation to have, and there's like no pressure.
I love, and I actually think that maybe doing it on the first date makes it way less intense than doing it on like the third, because on the third they might think, oh God, they probably really like me by this point. Good point. Whereas the first is like, I don't know who you are, so like, okay, next one, Elizabeth. She said, I don't care about labels. They're usually for other people's benefit. If you feel good together and happy, they're irrelevant. Just agree to be undefined.
Is that is she making a statement, or is she?
Yeah, I think this is a statement.
I'm scared.
I didn't know I could do that.
Jonah just zoomed all the way in on his face, and it was dramatic. Well, we all know that I can't do that, and I think it just confuses things, and I think it can just lead to people being on different pages.
Someone called Haywood wrote in and said, a lesson to my past self: don't assume exclusivity. Communicate.
Haywood. Round of applause. I think that's the biggest takeaway. I think if anyone's listening to this, like, communicate 1000%. Don't assume anything.
Okay, so a dude called Harvey wrote in and said, my experience is that it's females that want the label. And he wrote, and get why. I think he meant, and I don't get why, or I do get why, or something. So his experience is that it's females that more often than not want the label. Do you guys agree?
Yeah. I think in my experience, I do agree. But I also think part of the reason is that in my experience and what I know from like my friends and people I've talked to and given advice to and stuff is that it seems like girls tend to be the ones who end up getting hurt more often than not. And so I think we've learned to do this as a way to just protect ourselves and learn from the past.
What makes you say that? Why do you say that girls get hurt more than guys for the most part?
It's so bizarre, but like I'm trying to think of like the majority of relationships that my friends have been in, and it's always like them getting broken up with or them misinterpreting.
But you're hearing their side of it. You don't know. I mean, like,
I don't know the guy's side. Right.
I'm just trying to get
no, you're right. I don't
that sentence. So like, us to say that the guy's not hurt only comes to the fact that all your friends are girls and you're getting that POV. You're not seeing the guy go back to his apartment with his roommates and locking himself in his room playing video games because he can't control his emotions. That's true. I think that guys are hurt as just as badly as women. I mean, if we're gonna just talk about basic gender of like male, female, I think that guys are just as hurt as women in all this stuff. No one's invincible. We talked about this in our fuckboy episode of our new show, which will eventually drop. Fuckboys are just misunderstood men and women who, that's all they are.
That's fascinating. That's so interesting that they're just misunderstood. Because also what you said of you don't see those guys go back to their room and whatever, lock themselves in the room, play video games. Like women are so good at emotionally, well, often they are just better at harnessing their emotions and like talking about them and like expressing how they feel. Whereas a lot of time guys would just be like, I just want to like put my head in video games for ages and play these games and like, yeah, lock myself away.
And there are a bunch of guys, like my group of friends, we're all like super emotionally intact verbally, where we will talk about how we feel about relationships, where, you know, we were dreading. I have a friend who just had to break up with somebody. They had hooked up like 3 times and he felt really, really bad. And he was like so torn because he thought she was really cool, but you know, he just didn't feel something. And he was like, I don't know what to do. And like, he was in a whole spiral, you know, and so much went on in his life.
Mm-hmm.
And so I saw that firsthand and I was like, you know, I hope she understands that when that conversation does happen, it's like not about her, you know, it's about what he's going through, and it's ultimately helping her in her journey. But yeah, I would say that I agree with you. I think women are better at necessarily inherently articulating how they feel after a breakup, and like the cliche of sitting on your couch eating ice cream with tissue boxes and having friends bring Oreos over. It's in the zeitgeist. That's like, there is a truth to it, but like it's a pop culture meme. So
but then what is that about? Because Ilana, I do know what you mean. Like when I really liked this guy and then he didn't want anything with me, I was in this headspace of I feel like it's always like girls chasing the guys, and I don't know whether as well that's because I mainly speak to my friends who are girls, and I do know guys who they have been really into girls and they wanted something more, and the girls have said like no, you know, like I've done that too, and know that I've hurt like their feelings, and I know, you know, men who have done that to women and who've hurt women who have done whatever, they hurt their feelings. But I maybe it's guys our age don't necessarily want something as serious, and maybe, I mean, obviously again that's a big generalization. I do understand what you're saying, and I wonder why we think that.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, this is something that I want to like research and really get to the bottom of, because I think that this comes up all the time, and like you said, like you're always wondering like, oh, like why is it always like me, or like this, like the girl in this position like chasing after the guy, and that's something I think about too. But yeah, maybe it is just a matter of like our perspective, and that's like what we're used to. It's almost like the same thing as the concept of like all of our past relationships are failed relationships. Well, yeah, because technically a relationship is going to be a failure until you end up getting married and living happily ever after with someone. So it's kind of like what's in front of you and what has affected you the most is what you're going to think about when you think about dating and relationships.
Yes, and that's your idea of happiness. As Molly's brother said, Molly's brother doesn't want to get married, so perhaps his idea of the fairy tale ending is just
being happy with someone.
Yeah.
Okay, next one is says, this is the one, Ilana, where you're like, oh my God, I couldn't do this. This is her story. He didn't want a label immediately. This guy that she was seeing, he didn't want a label immediately, but they were exclusive. So she waited patiently for a year, and then he had come out of a long, complicated relationship, and now they're going 4-5 years strong in a relationship. Do you guys have any comments on that, about for people who really like someone, they want to be boyfriend and girlfriend, she waited patiently for a year. How do you feel about that?
You shouldn't wait for somebody.
Power to you is like, I'm glad you trusted the situation and trusted him and went with your gut. And I'm glad it obviously has worked out. I know that would be like torturous for me. And I personally like don't have the emotional capacity to handle that.
I think as well, it depends what's going on in their life. Like if they are someone who you like love and trust and whatever, and you can really believe that maybe it's just not the right timing, and like maybe they'll come around to it, then good for you. And if it works out, great. But yeah, there's definitely an argument as well for people who would just like get on with your life and like don't wait around for someone unless they're the one. Next question, Abby. Do you think it's important to take into consideration when dating that potentially if your standards are too high, you might never meet that person? Maybe you should lower your standards in order to meet the right person.
My take on standards is that they shouldn't be about what someone looks like or how tall they are or what kind of family they come from or how much money they make. I think that we have a very skewed view and like expectation of what standards are. And I really think that we would all be so much better off and so much happier in the end if we flipped our standards to be about how we feel when we're with someone. Like I want my standards and my expectations for someone are that they are going to make me feel safe. that I'm going to be able to trust them, that I have the expectation that they are going to communicate openly with me, and that like if something's wrong, we're going to talk about it. And those are my standards. And that those are the things that like I don't want to settle on. I don't care how tall someone is. I don't care if someone is like an investment banker or a teacher or is unemployed. Like I just want to set myself up to be happy. And I really think that that's something that people don't do often enough, and they focus on the physical and the superficial things when it comes to standards. And I really hope that over time we can kind of change that.
Okay, this one's a bit like not weird, but just different. This guy called Willie wrote in saying, "Should I feel weird about feeling attracted to an 18-year-old girl when I'm 23?"
Well, it's legal, so that's a good thing.
Always a good thing.
Yeah.
Here's the thing about age is that like when you're older, age doesn't matter. But I do think there's a huge difference in maturity from like 18 to 23 and from like 21 to like 28. And if like, look, like people mature at different points in their lives and at different paces. And if you're attracted to this girl, that's fine. Like explore it, see if it works, but like you might get judged, but like screw the people who are judging you. Fuck the haters.
Yeah.
Willie, you're not the age of being a sugar daddy, so it's fine.
Yeah, he's 23 and 18. I mean, that's 5 years. Like, that's basically saying me dating a 25-year-old.
Okay, the next one is really quite intense and sad, but they wanted to get an answer. So, guys, by the way, I laugh when I don't really know what to do. I'm just not laughing
I'm
out
the
of humor.
exact same way.
Okay, great. So, this is from Anonymous. This person writes in saying that she wants to know your guys' thoughts on she's in a situation now where she's in love with this guy, he's terminally ill, he doesn't want kids, and she doesn't know whether she should stay with him or not. Obviously this has nothing to do with labels.
I don't know, I can't answer.
I can't answer that either. I like that's something where you have to just follow your heart and know that you might experience like different types of pain from the situation, and whether that pain is that you're compromising on the things that you do want, or you might lose this person before you get to really like experience life with them. I think, yeah, I can't answer that, but just like follow your heart and spend time with the people you love.
Yeah, I agree. If you love him, like great. I do think though, if you do want kids, that either if you're getting to the age where you're like worried that you're not going to be able to keep having kids, if you're like 33, 34, if you really want kids, I would freeze your eggs. From the practical side of me speaking, freeze your eggs, and then you don't have to be freaked out about the time limit. So that's the biggest takeaway. Everybody freeze your eggs. And then the last one, exclusivity and the boy girlfriend label are interchangeable, right?
No, I don't think so.
No.
They are most definitely not.
Hopefully after this episode, the listener
wrong answer. You are exclusive, or you are a boyfriend or a girlfriend or a partner. Those are not interchangeable.
No. Cool. Well, guys, I think that is pretty much everything. I feel extremely educated now with your words of wisdom on labels versus exclusivity versus all of those things. So thank you so much for coming onto the pod.
Molly, thank you for having us. This was so fun.
You. Proud of you. You're killing it. You got an
Seriously.
awesome podcast. You're doing great stuff. You're a lovely human being.
Oh, stop.
We're excited to have you in New York.
I can't wait.
Do you hear the horns? Do you hear that? That was the New York welcome. Watch where you're going over here.
Oh my God.